When Alexei Kedyev woke up that January morning, he had no idea that a 400-pound Siberian tiger would block his front door, and that her desperate act would reveal a truth about survival that scientists never expected. Most people would have panicked. Most people would have hidden and hoped the predator moved on. But what Alexei did next, and what this dying tiger was trying to tell him, would challenge everything we thought we knew about the world's most dangerous animal. Because sometimes, the fiercest creatures on Earth don't come to hunt. Sometimes, they come for something far more heartbreaking. January 28, 2018, Solonsavy, Siberia, a place where temperatures drop to -40, where wolves outnumber people, and where survival isn't guaranteed. It's earned every single day. Alexei Kedyev had lived in this remote wilderness for 32 years. His nearest neighbor, Galina, was a quarter-mile away. The nearest hospital, 3 hours on roads that turned into death traps every winter. Out here, you didn't call for help. You handled things yourself, or you didn't handle them at all. That morning, Alexei followed his routine exactly as he had for decades. Coffee at 6:36 a.m. Check the weather radio, pull on his heavy boots and fur-lined coat. Then the walk to the woodshed to keep the stove burning, the only thing standing between him and freezing to death. But when his hand reached for the door handle at 6:47 a.m., everything changed. The door wouldn't open. Not frozen. Alexei knew frozen. This was different. This was pressure. Something on the other side was pushing back with immense weight. Through the tiny gap, he heard it, a low, rumbling growl that made his blood turn to ice. Alexei's hand trembled as he pulled back. In 32 years, he'd seen bears, wolves, lynx. He'd handled them all. But this sound was different. This was the sound of something that could end him in seconds. He moved to the window and peered through the frost. What he saw made his knees buckle. A fully grown Siberian tiger lay collapsed against his door, not prowling, not hunting, just there, blocking his only exit. Her massive body pressed against the wood like she'd been placed there by some cruel god. Alexei was trapped in his own home, and the clock was ticking. Alexei grabbed his phone with shaking hands and dialed the Ministry of Natural Resources. The woman on the other end sounded skeptical. "Sir, are you sure it's a tiger? Siberian tigers don't approach human dwelling." "I'm looking at it right now," Alexei's voice cracked. "It's on my porch. I can't leave my house." The dispatcher's tone changed. "Don't make any noise. Don't try to leave. We're sending an emergency wildlife team, but sir, the roads. It's going to take at least 4 hours, maybe 6. 6 hours, trapped with a Siberian tiger, one of the world's most powerful predators, just inches away on the other side of a wooden door." Galina arrived within 20 minutes, having heard Alexei's panicked call through their party line. Together, they watched through the window as the tiger's sides heaved with labored breaths. That's when they noticed something that made the situation even more terrifying. The tiger wasn't moving to hunt. She was too weak to move at all. Through the window, they could see her more clearly now in the growing daylight. Her once magnificent orange coat looked dull, matted. Her ribs protruded sharply through her fur, but it was her face that made Galina gasp. "Alexei, her mouth. Something's wrong with her mouth. Where powerful fangs should have been, there was nothing. The tiger's front teeth were completely gone, just empty, inflamed gums. Dark circles ringed her eyes, the eyes of an animal that had been suffering for a very, very long time. "She's starving," Alexei whispered. "That's why she's here. She can't hunt anymore." The realization hit them both. This wasn't an attack. This was a surrender. A 400-pound apex predator, reduced to begging at a stranger's door because she had nowhere else to go. But that made her even more dangerous. A desperate, dying tiger with nothing to lose. The minutes crawled by like hours. 1 hour became 2, 2 became 3, and still the rescue team hadn't arrived. At hour 4, the emergency wildlife team finally arrived, led by Sergei Aramilov, director of the Amur Tiger Center. They moved with extreme caution, tranquilizer rifles ready. The dart hit perfectly. Within minutes, the tiger slumped into unconsciousness, and the team could finally examine her. What they found made even these experienced professionals fall silent. 10 years old, Sergei said quietly, checking her teeth, or what was left of them. Advanced periodontal disease, total tooth loss. She probably hasn't eaten a proper meal in months. They loaded her onto a transport vehicle as carefully as they would handle explosive. One wrong move, one injury during transport, and she wouldn't survive the journey. At the Amur Tiger Center, the veterinary team gathered around her unconscious body. Dr. Viktor Kuzmenko, the lead veterinarian, conducted a thorough examination. He checked for gunshot wounds, stab injuries, signs of human violence. Nothing. This wasn't poaching. This was nature being cruel in the slowest way possible. She's completely emaciated, Victor announced to the team. No body fat whatsoever, severe dehydration. Internal organs are starting to fail. He paused, choosing his words carefully. I need to be honest with you all. The odds of survival are extremely low, but Sergei wouldn't accept that. There are only 500 Siberian tigers left in the wild, 500, and she's a female critical for breeding. We don't give up. We do everything we can. The problem, however, was that everything they could might not be enough. She's too weak for anesthesia, Victor explained. Putting her under could stop her heart. But without anesthesia, we can't perform active treatment. We can't clean her gums. We can't give her IV fluids properly. We can't do surgery if we need to. They were caught in an impossible situation. The tiger needed aggressive medical intervention to survive, but the medical intervention itself might kill her. Sergei made a decision. We sedate her remotely when absolutely necessary. Light doses only. Otherwise, we wait. We give her soft food, antibiotics mixed in, and we pray her body is strong enough to heal itself. Galina visited the center 3 days later, bringing updates back to Alexei, who couldn't make the journey. She stood outside the tiger's enclosure, watching through protective glass. She won't let anyone near her, the handler explained. The moment she woke up, the wild came back. Even without teeth, her claws are lethal. She's scared, defensive. We can't get close enough to help. Galina watched the tiger pace, or try to. Every few steps, she'd collapse, panting, then force herself up again, over and over, like she was fighting against the inevitable. Why won't she just rest? Galina asked. The handler's expression was grim, because resting means giving up, and tigers don't know how to give up. They fight until there's nothing left. Day 5 arrived with a glimmer of hope. The team had prepared ground meat mixed with antibiotics and pain medication. They slid it into her enclosure and watched from a distance. For the first time since her rescue, the tiger showed interest in food. She approached the meat slowly, sniffed it, then, to everyone's shock, she began to eat. She's eating, a volunteer shouted, and the entire staff rushed to watch. For 10 minutes, the tiger consumed the soft meat, slowly but steadily. It was the first real food she'd had in who knows how long. Sergei allowed himself a smile. Maybe she'll make it. But that night, everything changed. February 9th, 2018, 12 days after the tiger appeared at Alexei's door. The overnight team found her in the morning, lying on her side, completely still. For a horrifying moment, they thought she was dead. But then her ribs moved, barely, with shallow, labored breaths. She hadn't touched her food. The meat from the night before lay untouched, spoiling in the corner of her enclosure. Victor was called in immediately. He took one look and knew. She's given up. No, Sergei said firmly. We don't know that. Sergei, look at her. Victor's voice was gentle but firm. She stopped eating. That's the signal. Her body is shutting down and she's letting it happen. That afternoon, they increased her pain medication. They tried everything. Different foods, different temperatures, even playing recorded sounds of the forest to stimulate her appetite. Nothing worked. Galina called Alexei with updates every few hours. On the evening of February 9th, her voice was thick with tears. They don't think she'll make it through the night. Alexei sat alone in his house, staring at the spot on his porch where she'd lain. Tell them she tried. Tell them she tried so hard. February 10th, 2018, 6:42 a.m. The morning staff arrived to find the tiger completely still. This time, her ribs weren't moving. She had died sometime in the night, alone in her enclosure, 13 days after she first collapsed on Alexei Kediv's porch seeking help that came too late. Victor examined her body one final time. Cause of death: starvation and systemic organ failure due to chronic periodontal disease and advanced age. He paused, his professional composure cracking. Nothing could have saved her, even if we'd found her months earlier. The damage was too severe. But here's what happened next. The part that left the entire scientific community stunned. When they performed the full necropsy, they discovered something remarkable. The tiger hadn't just wandered to Alexi's house by accident. The tracking data from her final days, combined with the examination of her paw pads, revealed that she had traveled over 40 kilometers, nearly 25 miles, in her weakened state. She had passed multiple empty hunting cabins, abandoned structures, and easier resting places, but she kept going until she found an occupied home, Alexi's home. Dr. Aramilov published his finding. The evidence suggests this tiger deliberately sought human contact in her final days. This contradicts everything we thought we knew about Siberian tiger behavior. They avoid humans instinctively, but she came looking for us. 3 months after the tiger's death, Alexei received a letter from the Amur Tiger Center. Inside was a photograph, the last picture taken of the tiger, lying peacefully in her enclosure, her eyes closed, finally at rest. But there was something else. A small plaque, engraved with words that made Alexei's eyes well up. In memory of Tiger 408, she taught us that survival is not just about strength, it's about knowing when to ask for help. And sometimes, the bravest thing a wild animal can do is trust a human. The letter from Sergei explained, "Because of your compassion, because you called for help instead of trying to scare her away, we learned something invaluable. We now train our teams to watch for approach behavior in sick or injured tiger. 3 tigers have been saved in the past year because we recognized the same signs your tiger showed us." Galina framed the photograph and hung it in her home. Alexei kept the plaque on his mantle, but the most remarkable legacy came from an unexpected source. 6 months after the tiger's death, a research team studying tiger genetics made a startling discovery. Using DNA from Tiger 408, they identified her bloodline. She was descended from one of the original 40 Siberian tigers that survived the near-extinction event of the 1940s. Her genetic line is critical, the lead researcher explained. If we'd never found her, never documented her DNA, we would have lost crucial information for the breeding program. Today, because of that DNA, 4 cubs have been born in captivity carrying her lineage, 4 new chances for the species to survive. The Amur Tiger Center now tells her story to every visitor, every donor, every scientist who comes through their doors, not as a tragedy, but as a testament. Because here's the truth that Tiger 408 taught us. The fiercest predators on Earth aren't above asking for help. They're not too proud to admit they're dying. They don't see surrender as weakness. Alexei still lives in that same remote house in Solontsavy, and every January 28th, on the anniversary of the day a dying tiger chose his door, he places flowers on his porch. She could have died alone in the forest, he told a journalist last year. She could have hidden her suffering like wild animals do, but she didn't. She walked 25 miles to find help. That's not weakness. That's the strongest thing I've ever seen. Tiger 408 never got to go back to the forest, but because she stumbled to one man's door on one frozen morning, her legacy will run through the forests of Siberia for generations to come. And maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what she came there to give us.